Going into playing Kenna, I had no expectations. Just from the state of play trailers, I knew that the game had a cute art style and some flashy combat, but that's legit all I knew before going in. But that's the magical thing though, because going in blind was one of the best decisions I could have made. Granted, the game does have its flaws, but the overall experience made for something that hit much harder without too much fluff in between. And starting off, I gotta give some love to the game's visuals. If you would have showed me cutscenes from this game without any context, I would have sworn up and down that this was the next Disney Pixar movie. The style of the game just oozes with that aesthetic. It's almost as if the developers started off with a concept for a Pixar movie and then just scrapped that entire idea to make it into a game instead. And don't you even get me started on these cute little creatures called Rot. Yeah, I know they don't have the most adorable name out there, but finding them and seeing their animations was a delight from beginning to end. And even the characters that we meet along the way have their own charm that shines through each of the scenes. But before I get into all that, I want to talk more about the gameplay of Kenna because that's a little bit more complicated to discuss. Being an action-adventure game, you can easily compare it to something like Jak and Daxter. Then you add in the Rot and you have comparisons like Pikmin, which obviously makes a lot of sense. These little guys are about half of your abilities through the game outside of the Spirit Staff. They can wrap themselves around enemies, giving you the chance to get some licks in. They can use these orbs to turn into a beastly blob that can destroy poison and whenever the game allows can easily destroy enemies. And they can even be used to attach to your own weapons just to add a little bit of oomph to the damage. Really quick tip about that, by the way, the hammer ability that you unlock early is godlike. Trust me, do not sleep on that. The only thing that really limits your abilities in this game is the amount of Rot charges that you have available. And believe me, those things are going to be your best friend and your worst enemy throughout the game. It opens up these possibilities of whether or not you should use your charges to deal more damage or save them in case you need to heal yourself in a fight. Because of course, they are the only way that you can heal yourself in combat. Again, it adds that extra layer of strategy to combat so you can't go in every fight like it's some hack and slash unless you want to restart it over and over again, which I had to do a couple times. But just be wary that this is a mechanic that's going to limit what you can do quite a bit. Which reminds me, the way that these battles flow can be a bit jarring. I feel like Kenna has powers that are more rewarding when you take your time to properly strategize. The game might not seem like it with the way they bombard you with enemies at times, but taking your time is absolutely key. What helped me out a ton was the simple trick of jumping and shooting your bow. It slows down time just enough to get a feel of your surroundings and make some mental adjustments. It's weird to me that they even have a power to slow down time when aiming and jumping has no cooldown. It helped me a ton in the fights where you need to hit a lot of weak points on enemies. So overall, I have to admit that combat for this game may be a bit iffy for some that aren't used to games like this, but overall, I think it was a great experience. And now let's touch back on the story of Kenna for a minute without spoiling anything. Long story short, well, the story of Kenna is short. The whole game can be finished within 8 hours, but that's not even the part I'm most concerned about. Short games aren't a bad thing, especially when they have a rich and deep story to go along with them. Kenna, on the other hand, is a special case. And don't get me wrong, I loved the story. In fact, I loved it so much I was sad to see that the entire game only focuses on 3 major storylines. Before I knew it, I was on the final story and I honestly was craving so much more. I wish they had a few more stories from the villagers to pad out the experience a bit, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The tragedy that takes place and starts off Kenna's journey feels like it could have spawned countless stories in this world. Hell, I even wish that the story focused more on Kenna herself. There's probably no chance for DLC based off of how the game ended, but hopefully there is a sequel so they can expand on the lore and story here because it's so very interesting. All things considered, Kenna really caught me by surprise. And after my time with it, I would recommend that anyone who's looking for a fun action-adventure Pixar game to check it out. Right now, I believe the game is only available as a digital copy, but a physical copy is set to release very soon. So what do you guys think? If you've played Kena, tell me what you thought about it in the comment section down below. Was it a game that really blew your mind, or was it something that was a little disappointing? And even if you didn't play it, tell me if this video made you any more interested in playing it in general. So don't forget to like and subscribe and all that jazz. And that's it for now, so I'll see you guys in the next one.